Hello everyone and welcome to today's tutorial. I'm Susan from Irish Crochet and today we're going to be looking at how to crochet a clone's knot edging. If you're interested in these little popcorn squares, I do have a tutorial already for these and I'll leave a link in the description box below. The difference between these squares and the ones in my previous tutorial that I've actually gone around each square with a row of half double crochets in an off-white colour, and I've sewn them together instead of crocheting them together. Right, having said that, this is also going to be a cushion panel. Well, it is a completed cushion panel. All I'm going to do now is make the envelope style cushion cover, and then I will sew it onto the front of that. And when you do a cushion panel, these little knots stand proud if you just sew the back edge onto your cushion. I'll just snip and get my other cushion that I've done the same way. So this is a cushion I did a while ago, and once again I've already got the tutorial on my channel for these little squares, but this is the completed cushion and this is the envelope style. And this is how I stitch it to it with tiny little stitches. Okie dokie, so let's get started with making the little clone's knot border. If you're interested in the little popcorn squares, the mini popcorn squares, they're mini squares and they're also little mini popcorns. I do have a tutorial for these. The only difference between this sample and the tutorial is I've gone around the edge of the squares with a row of half double crochets in an off-white colour, and then I've sewn the squares together. So just before we start working the clone's knots, you now know there's a tutorial for this little square, and I've already mentioned there's a tutorial for this square, but I've also got a tutorial for this simple slip stitch join. So I'll leave the links for those in the description box below. Right, let's get started with working some little clone's knots. So using this little sample piece, we're going to start in the last stitch just before the corner. You can join in your yarn however you like and begin with a single crochet. I'm starting with a standing single crochet. Next, elongate your yarn for your first knot. Then yarn over, bring your hook round like so, then to the back and pick up the yarn. Bring your hook back to the front, yarn over, bring your hook to the back and then pick up the yarn. Bring your hook back to the front. You repeat this sequence a total of 8 times, or you work this sequence a total of 8 times. If you have a hook like mine, you can always just slide those loops over the thumb rest, just to elongate them slightly. Then yarn over, and holding everything quite gently, bring that loop through all the loops on your hook and slip stitch to close. Then slip stitch around the base of the first elongated loop you started with. Next, single crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. If you notice, I'm doing a yarn under single crochet. This gives a crossed effect and a slightly shorter single crochet, which is a little neater. but you can do regular single crochets if you prefer. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and now we're ready to work our next clones knot. So we elongate the yarn and yarn over, just as if you were doing a puff stitch. Then you bring your hook round to the back and you pick up the yarn, and then you bring your hook back to the front, working this a total of 8 times. Don't forget there is a little cogwheel icon, which means you can slow down or speed up the video however you wish. Then yarn over and pull the yarn through all the loops on your hook. Now I noticed here I didn't pass those loops over this little thumb rest. Let's see if that does make a difference. It's these end loops that seem to go a little tighter. So we'll try once more. Still a little tight. Sometimes the yarn splits and slip stitch to close and work a slip stitch at the base of the knot. And ready to work our next 5 single crochets. I think it's fair to say that I'm so used to working normal single crochets. Let's just have a little look. There we go. Extend the loop on your hook, yarn over and rotate and pick up 8 times. So you continue this sequence all the way round. It does help if you end with a clones knot at the corner, but honestly it doesn't make that much difference. If you do find you're at a corner and you're not happy with the way it looks, you can always put an extra single crochet and a chain one in the corner. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I found these little squares working 5 single crochets in between the knots. It all tends to balance out quite well. If I've done one too many there, it really doesn't matter. Sometimes you just have to give it a little wriggle. We're ready to work our single crochets. So just pause and rewind the video as needed, and you just work your knots all the way around your project. The knots do have a slight difference to them, as you can see here. I mean, on the front and the back. This is the way we've been working from the front, and this is the back. Now, I have a really old book on Irish crochet. It's well over 125 years old, I think, and it suggests that the convex side of your clones knot is actually the right side, which would mean this is the convex. It's like the dome, and I'd suppose that this is the more concave side. So to achieve that effect, you'd actually have to work with the wrong side facing for the little knots to look like this from this side. But in the greater scheme of things, it's almost imperceptible, really. So I hope you've enjoyed watching how to work this little stitch. It is by no means an easy stitch. I do have another tutorial on it where I think I might have mentioned early in the video. If I didn't, well, it's a clones knot garland for Christmas, and there are several different ways you can make these knots, and you might find a different way is easier for you. So I'll leave a link in the description box below for that too. Right, I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Oh, just before I go, one of my lovely subscribers, well, I'm not sure if she's subscribed, but she's certainly lovely because she mentioned to me she's made these little squares in a variegated yarn and said they've turned out beautifully. She was a bit concerned as to whether the popcorns, the mini popcorns, would show up, but she was delighted to let me know that they really did, and she's pleased. Right, having said all that, I'll see you on the next video. In the meantime, take care.